If I was designing, if I had the luxury of being able to design my perfect watch, my ideal watch, an all-round GADA watch, there are certain features that I would, with the experience that I have now, I would be keen to put on this watch. A brushed bezel would be one such feature, so it doesn't reflect the light. In fact, generally a brushed case. I would also hope that I could feature, let's say, Omega style broad arrow hands, sword type broad arrow hands that you might find on an Omega, an old heritage Omega, with a little bit of loom. It's just a timeless look, isn't it? Again, some loom, a little bit of loom, nice reflection, possibly a bit of beveling. And then I wouldn't want a dial that was too reflective. A little bit of interest possibly in the dial. Nothing, no sunburst for me. I think generally plain, but with a little bit of interest. Perhaps something. Simple indices. A domed crystal. A smooth sweeping, ultra reliable movement. High beat would be a preference. Well, it may just be that this watch already exists. Welcome to the Falcon from New York-based micro brand LORIER, that's how it's pronounced, husband and wife team. A passion for retro-inspired watch designs since 2017. I've been very impressed with this little watch. For me, it's one of those itches that it was only a matter of time before it got scratched. The itch, not the watch. The Falcon, as you can see from LORIER's own marketing material, great website by the way, but it incorporates elements. It's designed after three watches, sort of three watches in one, classic watches from the 50s. The original Rolex Explorer, the Omega Railmaster, and the Seiko Alpinist. And you can see that this watch has little elements from each of those. That's a great idea. I don't know of another watch manufacturer that blatantly has set out to do that. Each one of those watches that this watch is based on would cost a small fortune. Their watches also come with very retro-inspired marketing. A little tale to tell on each watch. What it's designed for. We will get onto the actual specs and finer features of the watch in a minute, but I just wanted to outline the packaging, which has been very well thought out. As an overall package, a little leather travel pouch, a tube of poly watch comes with every watch to buff out any light scratches on the crystals, and a metal, good quality screwdriver for the links in the bracelet. This really is one of those watches that, had you been living in the 50s and 60s, would have been your one watch. And actually, using modern materials, production processes, attention to detail, it is probably better quality and long lasting than any of those three watches that it was based on. So let's see what you get for $499, which is the current RRP on the LORIER website. There is a bit of a cult following to this watch, and I have found that the pre-owned, it holds its value quite well. Generally 60% or so of the RRP, and it seems to settle at that level. They do sell out of production runs of the Falcon. Generally, every time they sell out, and then a few months later, they launch them again. So basically, we have a 36mm case. It can wear quite small, very slim, at under 10mm thick, very short lug to lug, screw down signed crown, which gives it its 100 meters of water resistance, BGW9 loom, blue loom on everything. The loom is good, it's the right colour, it's not exceptional. Don't expect Seiko dive watch quality, but it's very pleasant and it does last through the night. Domed Hesalite crystal, as watches would have had in the time period that this aspires to emulate. All brushed, everything brushed, hard wearing. But there are some great features, some attention to detail, quality control features that I feel LORIER excel in. First of all, just look at that dial. The crosshatch matte finish, no distracting sunburst effects. There is a tiny polished element to the top of the case, but the rest is generally brushed. A very slight polishing around the side there. So there are lots of facets. This area here on the lugs, you go from brushing to brushing with a beautiful polished chamfer that widens towards the end of the lugs. Look at the tolerances for the bracelet. There isn't a gap whatsoever there. It is comfortable. You'll notice female end links. So this wears as squat and small on the wrist as possible. So it's permanently comfortable. The crown is a good size in relation to the watch. Very easy to grip. And I can confirm there's no ghost date position. I can confirm that it winds and sets very smoothly. The LORIER name, logo, the Falcon are slightly applied in a stainless finish. The case back is simple, as was the case with old everything, Omegas, Rolexes. There was no fancy case backs or display cases. It was simple, just like this. The bracelet is alright, it's stainless, it's comfortable. The clasp is very sturdy. And signed with the LORIER logo. 3 points of micro adjustment. There aren't any half links with this watch, so you are pretty much relying on a whole link out and using the micro adjustment to get a perfect fit. But again, attention to detail. Look at the polished chamfer along the breaking up the stainless effect of that clasp. See if I can pick that up better. The polished chamfer there on the edge of the clasp. Another final close-up on the dial. Very slow movement, so you can pick up the details there. It's quite unique. In fact, it's very unique. Nevada Grenchen do this with the F77, but I think this, I don't see how this could be bettered. And it's a lovely little package at this price point. It's not very reflective, is it, the crystal? It seems to be highly legible. And continuing the theme of an overall package, a great all-round, lifelong, impeccably made watch, we have screw-down links, which makes adjustment so much easier. They didn't need to do that. So for me, how do you think that wears? 36mm, 7.4-inch wrist. At first impressions were that it wore a bit small. Extremely comfortable, you hardly notice it, but a little bit small. Actually, scrub that. It wears great.